Just one race remains in the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car season, and in the touring car category, Paul Holden had amassed a large lead, but in the last couple of races, it has dwindled to but 9 points. Will he be able to hang on and take the crown? The final round of the Touring Car Championship is next from Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. And welcome indeed to an absolutely glorious afternoon here at one of North America's iconic and legendary raceways, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, just slightly east of the Monterey Peninsula, up in the Laguna Hills, carved out of Fort Ord some 60 years ago. It's the 60th anniversary year of this great championship, the first race unfolding in September of 1957, and it has produced some absolutely staggering racing ever since. And Jeff Lepper, I think it is a fitting place to wrap up a championship because of the challenges that this track presents. You come in and you want that championship, you better earn it if you're going to finish it up here.
And this is one of those tracks you got to be spot on. You got to hit all of your marks. You drop a couple wheels off. You could have a flat tire. You could break a rim. You can pick up the dust. The track conditions change every lap because somebody comes through, lays a bunch of dust down on the track. You can't see it. You hit the corner, everything can change and make it different here all race long.
Absolutely, and it can bite you in other ways, too, as can often happen. If you were with us on our morning call here on our webcast, you saw the great run that the 54 Hoover Speed entry of Mark Drennan put together and the 91 ST Racing entry of Nick Whitmer. Well, they ended up getting moved to the back of the field, a technical infraction. After the race, they did not pass post-race tech. And so they will be starting way back in what is a very big field. They're starting 24th and 25th, respectively. And it's going to be fun to watch them in the early laps starting to work their way through this pack. They certainly have the speed to be able to do that.
Yeah, Mark Drennan's who I felt bad for. He started up in the front of the field at round 11, worked his way through to the second corner there at Andretti Hairpin and had a big problem working his way all the way back up to within less than a second of the leader and had a problem with that technical infraction. Now he's got to play catch up again, this time further back all the way from 24. So I think cautions they're hoping for will be their friend.
And then, of course, there's the championship scenario with Holton getting the win and the point for the pole. You know, it was a 24-point margin, but because of that DQ of Whitmer, Greg Liafouge now has picked up second with the, being back 24 points at this stage. Whitmer still third in the championship, Jeff, but it puts him 34 points behind. That means he doesn't have a shot at the actual championship. In theory, he could still be able to leapfrog Greg Liafouge, possibly. So we'll see how that plays out here. But obviously big implications. And there you see those two cars at the back, the 54, that patriotic liveried Mazda that runs in the touring car category. Mark Drennan, an absolute gun in Spec Miata racing, putting on a superb race in that first race, but having some issues, as we said, in post-race tech. And, of course, Nick Whitmer, front runner all season long. And they were both penalized for the same infraction. We believe it was just a smidge underweight, but a rule's a rule, and that's how you have to play it. But all eyes on them coming up to the field. But with Holton on the front row and Carl Whitmer, who ended up in the gravel, but Carl in that fused lens onto Sen Rose Accord was spectacular in the early laps and spectacularly quick getting that outside front row starting spot.
He was, just made a little bit of a mistake down there in that braking zone, turn number 11, ran off into the gravel trap, got buried. That was great for the Pirelli World Challenge officials that he went so far into that gravel trap. They figured he was going to be safe and able to continue racing. Another big factor is that front-wheel drive, two of them on that front row. Standing start here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That can really change that outcome down into turn number 2 here with the rear-wheel drive cars behind them able to get a little bit of a better start.
Yeah, and two good ones. Greg Liafouge, who's very experienced and gets it done well. That was his 7th podium on the season that he put together, his 6th podium that he put together in that last race. And young Mason Filippi, who's been wickedly quick and very impressive. And those two really can get the job done with those standing starts. Mason, of course, with the Winding Road Team TFB BMW. Then Pierre Kleindubing, talk about experience, 5-time Pirelli World Challenge champion, sits 3rd in the number 26 on the grid. And, sits 5th after finishing 3rd. And then Tony Rivera finished 4th. He'll start in the 6th spot in his Brass Monkey Racing Nissan. Then to the defending class champion, Jeff, Toby Grahovic, back in the 7th spot. turning that 7th quick lap during the race. And Anthony Magagnoli had a really good run going in terms of speed in the Rooster Hall Racing FCP Euro car. The number 80 BMW ended up, had a problem and never made it to the finish, ended up not classified, but he showed some good speed as well.
He did, and another one of those good speed cars, John Weisberg in that Redcom SLS Berg Racing and Racer Inc. Mazda MX-5 ran out of gas on the last lap, was making that pass over Leo Fuge there, and then and just died on him, and he coasted across the line, but unfortunately not able to get a good finish out of that car.
Yeah, and that'll just absolutely drive you nuts, won't it? And, of course, we do have to give a shout-out to a returning champion, one from our touring car B ranks, who is an absolute gun in anything he drives, and especially when he's behind the wheel of a BMW, and that is Johann Schwartz driving the number 28 machine. And great to have him back in the championship for one. And obviously Robert Nimkoff, who normally drives that car, had a last-minute conflict come up, turned it over to him and said, you've been a great coach, and said, you drive that Auto Technica car and give it a ride. So he sure did, and I know they wanted to say a big thanks as well to Cass Group, Diamond Creek, Instrumart, and Siamentis for some extra help to make this weekend happen. And we are closing in on the command, so we're going to pause here, and when we come back, we will be starting to build our CBS Sports Network show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is great to have you with us here for this final round of the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Championship. As we wrap up the season, champions to be decided, and it all starts with igniting the engines of this great field, some 25 strong of the touring cars. Let's get down to the front of the grid as the engines come to life. And, of course, leading them away on the installation lap, Jeff, the Cadillac ATS-V pace car that has been a signature for so many years in Pirelli World Challenge competition will lead them around. And, of course, we also have the Cadillac Escalade, which has been the medical vehicle that has been able to support this championship so well. And a big thanks to Cadillac as the safety car leads them away. Final standing start of the season coming up.
It's going to be exciting to see how this standing start plays out. A lot of fast rear-wheel drive cars there. Is a little, it's like Toby Grahovic, a little slow to get going there, make sure there wasn't a problem. But Paul Holton, just a superb run here. He had the championship, we thought, pretty much in the bag, and then had some devastating races with incidents and failures on his Audi RS3 LMS to where it really closed things back up. Yep. I think Nick Whitmer, unfortunately, with that penalty, and Greg Leofouge really hasn't been on par here in this last couple of rounds. And Paul in that recovery now in that C360R Audi doing a great job. It's really his championship to lose here today.
And there's a look at the Cadillac ATS VR safety car. Great job out on the track. It's been great to have them around all season long. And the Escalade as well that they have provided, our official medical vehicle. Always just delighted to have them here and supporting this championship. As I said, final standing start of the season coming up when we come back.
Well, getting these Pirelli P0 tires warmed up in our TC category. You saw the TCA a little bit earlier here live at world-challenge.com and motortrendondemand.com. And what a great swan song for the TCB category. Enough cars in the Pirelli World Challenge touring car categories. Now they had to split up the race.
Yeah.
It really shows the success of TC, TCA, and TCB now. And then we move on to the RS3 LMS. We should see a Volkswagen next year. We'll see the Honda Civic has been known to have a TCR platform car. It'll be exciting to see that category grow.
Is that class going to now be called TC International? Is that the nomenclature?
To be decided yet.
To be decided yet. All right.
Now, of course, TCR is a licensed name, so you got to work with what you're going to do. Same as GT3, same as GT4.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all licensed. You know, everybody's about protecting their brand. So maybe we got to make sure we call it the proper terms and we get it the right names. But pace car lights are off.
Lights are out on the safety vehicle. It makes its move into pit lane. But, of course, these guys, now led by Paul Holton, your points leader and pole sitter, are going to swing around and get ready for the standing start. Of course, they're going to be dealing on all the restarts with the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone, that turn 11 area. And let's take a look at our quad box, featuring the great images of the Replay XD cameras, just a sampling of what you're going to be able to enjoy during this last race of the 2017 season.
I really like those. You really see what the driver gets the chance to do, so pretty cool shots.
Yeah, in the office. You got to love that indeed. And of course, when it's standing start, you look at the lights. You can see the one light board just north of that official there, about center screen. And the yellow lights just mean we're in the start sequence. When the red light comes on, that's when the revs go up, and then the light goes out. We go racing. You can see in the background the medical vehicle is staged, and a little bit sloppy lineup way in the back there, but I don't think that's going to change things. Watch for those red lights to come on, and then we will go racing. All right, the sequence is now officially underway. And there it is. The lights are on. Revs are coming up. We're about to go racing, and quick green flag. And you were right, Jeff. Look at that. Not a great start up front, but no contact as Whitmer is getting swallowed up, and around the outside goes Mason Filippi.
And he's got to be careful there. Paul Holton does not want to see that happen and be in that sandwich. Just maybe let them go and not do some argy-bargy, so to speak, there as Whitmer way loose coming through the outside. I think he might have a tire down.
And we also, I think I just saw PK, Pierre Kleinubing right there, giving Greg Leofouge a couple of taps right at the apex of the Andretti hairpin, going, come on, bud, let's get this moving just a little bit here. But youngster Mason Filippi, wow, taking advantage beautifully of that start. But Holton, he's going to look to the inside immediately, decides better of it. And word from race control, the start is under review.
Yeah, they'll look at that now and see what happens there. As you see, there's a back bumper off of Whitmer hanging off as they were coming down that straightaway with the contact there. Just, got that limited amount of space, and you're trying to squeeze everybody through there on that standing start. Now, the best thing for Holton here he can do is try to get in that open air. That Audi RS3 needs that arrow on the front nose, so you'll see him start pulling out to see where he can find to get that move.
Yeah, he just assumed be up front. Here's a look at it here. Now, watch this. There's the squeeze play as Filippi and Whitmer got tagged together, and it really parked Leofouge.
It really did, and I think Mason Felipe really needs to give better racing room there. You saw him turn down. If he would have just stayed straight on that line, it would have been okay. So we'll see what the race stewards see with that.
Yeah, when Whitmer lit the tires up and Holton didn't get away great, and it looked like Leofouge had an absolutely great start, and then when Whitmer tried to fill that gap, there was nowhere to go.
Yeah, just like I said, too many cars in too many places at the same time. But Mason Felipe, great job for him to lead over here. Paul Holton going to be under attack mode as Greg Leofouge right behind him. Leofouge will be desperate to get around Holton to try to see if there's any points he can get ahead of Paul Holton, because you never know what could happen. It goes to that 20-minute mark is the magic here. You got to get at least to halfway.
All right, there's a good look at the number 19. That is Ari Belo having a great run. Very familiar with this racing venue. Trying to get down the inside of John Weisberg. He does. Oh, boy, that's a tough place to make it work, and he did it right at the apex of 4. But a move to the lead by Holton.
Yeah, Paul Holton used that downforce in the braking zone at turn number 5 over here. And you see there's Nick Whitmer already working his way up, the number 91. Mark Drenna behind him. He's up into 12th already. 15th, it looks like on the charts there. Dyslexia. But Nick Whitmer working there is, problems for Jorgensen.
It's tough. Obviously, he's got some damage. It was the exit of turn 2 where he ran into some problem. Don't know exactly what happened, but he's got some damage to the right side of that car, obviously. And they just said start reviewed, no action on the start. So apparently they're waiting to let him go. Just a little bit of argy-bargy.
I love Calvin Fish. That's his line, right?
Boy, and look at this. Look how quick Holton's going away. And here comes Leofouge, late on the brakes down into turn 11. That's exactly what he wanted to be able to do here to get to the front. Now the question is, you've already seen Holton managing to open up a bit of a margin. He wastes no time when he gets to the front. And as you said, Jeff, the arrow on that car, when he's in clean air, he can fly. When he's in dirty air, it's not quite effective. Oh, Pierre Kleinubing coming up and trying to work the outside of Mason Filippi. Mason decided to go a little tight to the inside. Pierre popped to the outside, and you can see Mason at one point went, I don't know if that was a good choice. And then he remembered you cannot move in reaction to a driver behind you making a move, and he realized, I have to stay put. But you can see he was really gritting his teeth to do it.
He was. He probably had the steering wheel gripped and clenched as well to try to see if he can make that pass done. As here's player Kleinubing onto the inside of Felipe. To the brakes a little bit later. You saw that front nose dip, but just not enough grip there to the inside. You got that momentum in the curve and the bank there to really climb up through turn number 5. You see Mason Felipe battling for that third place. Greg Leafouge going to see if he can run down Paul Holton, maybe make a battle here for the championship. But out a great recovery for Toby Grahovic there, up into a top 6 now.
Boy, absolutely. I mean, he took advantage of everything that unfolded at the start, put himself in a great spot, and is right up there with Tony Rivera in that battle. And again, Pierre Kleinubing just doing everything he can to figure out a way by young Mason Felipe in that number 12. We just got word starters mechanical black, which means a mandatory pit stop for the 99 of Carl Whitmer. Apparently feel that bumper at the back is flailing and could be a danger to cars that are in chase mode.
In my opinion, a terrible call. No fault of his own for that. That bumper is good and attached, and it's all just plastic polyurethane. It's not going to hurt anything. Just let him go. But unfortunately, that they're going to call that, and it's a safety thing for those cars sometimes. You know, if that bumper falls off on somebody and somebody has to avoid it, I do understand. Always err on the side of safety, but when you're here in the final race of that championship and something happens like this, it's just very frustrating and very heartbreaking as well.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's attached on both ends there. So I think you're right. I think that might be just a little bit of an overreaction, but hey,
I'd be arguing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure the team is having that discussion with them right now as we are early in the running here in the season finale of the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Championship. Last race, and it just happens to be the Grand Prix of Monterey. I tell you, while Mason is mounting this defense here, Jeff, keeping Kleinubing behind him and slowing them both up, the group in front's getting away. Grahovic, Rivera, Whitmer are coming. Yeah, they sure are. And you see Whitmer in that Honda Accord. Word was that mechanical black flag has to come in and pit. And like I said, I would be arguing that looks like there's some pretty good straps on the back of that holding that on. As you see, he ducks down into pit lane. Oh, right as Kleinubing makes the move. To the inside, right there in turn number 11, just pushes the issue and makes his way through. It'll be interesting to see Carl Whitmer, and how much they have to do to get that bumper removed. I've had plenty of times where I got a body piece hanging on, and I spend 2 minutes in the pit lane trying to get it removed, going, well, I guess it wasn't going to fall off. Yeah, that'll frustrate you, huh? When they're sitting there watching it going, well, that wasn't going anywhere. Oh, boy, look at Pierre. I mean, he is starting to wheel it now. He's just carrying a little opposite lock at the exit there. And came off pretty easy. So. In and out. Well, they probably had a big pair of bolt cutters ready for that bad boy. Absolutely. You always get that when you have the straps there. And he's going to drop all the way back to the back of the field and start working his way back up. So both Whitmer brothers praying for a yellow flag. Absolutely. And, of course, I know we've been beating this analogy to death all day so far, but this is the guy that was a professional hockey player before he decided to get back into racing, and I think he's just dropped the gloves, and he's coming after him here. It should be a lot of fun, and if we do get that caution, yeah, it could become absolutely fascinating. Holton has ballooned that margin to 2.5 seconds now over Leafouge, and Leafouge just turned his best lap, but it's still slower than what Holton ran on that lap, so Holton just sort of easing away from everybody. Tony Rivera there, that Nissan 370Z in the 6th place right behind Grahovic. So we got that battle for third here. 4 or 5 cars strong now. Not sure who's going to get that, as looks like Kleinubing able to pull a little bit away from Felipe there, and then you got Grahovic, Rivera, and Maganoli back there in 7th. Yeah, Maganoli, as I said, didn't get a finish. He had that problem in that first race and ended up hitting and was out of it. But he turned in a good lap in the race in terms of the 8th fastest lap, and he is starting to move up the order as well. Battles continuing throughout the field. It's Holton leading over Leafouge, but Pierre Kleinubing has been able to get by on Mason Felipe and is stretched it out just a little bit. And it's Toby Grahovic, the defending series champ, is going to be the next guy to fill the mirrors of our very talented young man.
He sure is. He's sitting back there in that 5th place. All the stuff that happened there on the start, he kind of capitalized on that and able to go battle for this top 5, kind of just floating it down to the inside, maybe trying to make a look on that young rookie, Mason Felipe, to try to get him to kind of maybe flinch a little bit. But Pierre Kleinubing opens it up a little bit into that 3rd place position, the final podium spot. But we're watching our number 1. And there's a reason for that. He had the champion in our touring car category last season.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was an absolutely stellar season for him. It was well-earned indeed. Hasn't had quite that type of year this year, and of course that classic BMW program that he is a significant part of, fielding a lot of cars in this championship. And when he's had problems, other classic BMW cars have been able to come through and run very strongly indeed. But I'll tell you, once Pierre got around Mason here, he's been able to stretch it just a little bit, and he's just floating lots of speed through the corners here. I've seen that car, the 26 classic BMW, right there, the gray and white one, more like gunmetal and white, I guess, just carrying little slides here and there. So he is really on it right now, trying to build a little gap.
He is, and I want to give a huge thank you to Toby Grahovic. I got a chance to head down to Plano, Texas, and go to the dealership 95 Bay Strong for the repair shop there at Classic BMW. And it all started 14 years ago when Toby Grahovic gave a call to Classic BMW and said, hey, I'm looking for some support on my club car. They backed him up. He ended up giving him a few SCCA National Championship runoff championships and built this up to a 6-car strong program now with Classic BMW.
Yeah, it's a pretty stout operation. There's a look at the number 80 of Magagnoli, who we were talking about. He wants, I'm sure, a little redemption from having that DNF in that first race. And he has been, just every race we've seen him, he just continues to improve, looks stronger and stronger as he goes. And there's the 28 of Johan Schwartz, who has cracked the top 10 now and is running in 9th.
Yeah, that Auto Technique BMW M235i Racing, good job for him. Holds in a BMW the record for the longest drift of Johan Schwartz. You look it up in the record books, pretty crazy.
Yep.
And what he's done with that. But Nick Whitmer up into the 8th position now. Wow, what a drive for him as he's lapping about a second quicker than the cars in front of him.
Yeah, I'm sure he has got that little bit of a red mist in his coming. Just quickly on Johan, talk about a good life. He recently raced in the Copenhagen Historic Grand Prix Royal Pro-Am, driving a 2002 BMW TII and a 65 Lotus Cortina. How much fun would that have been?
That's amazing. Lotus Cortina.
Yeah. Great to have him back with us, the Touring Car B champion of a couple of years ago in that Cass Group, Diamond Creek, Instrumartin, Siamensis entry, all part of the classic BMW program you were talking about. And here is the number 71 of Holden. But let's go back for a moment and take a look at the pass that Pierre Kleinubing made going for the lead.
Yeah, just that last minute, snaps the wheel over in the braking zone. I think that sort of surprised Felipe a little bit, and he got it. And there was them removing that rear bumper. They got that off of Carl Whitmer's Fuse Lenses Honda Accord, and he'll start working his way back up through the field as well.
Now, there's no way that I can actually clarify and make an excuse for saying going for the lead. It was the lead of the battle they were in, which, of course, is 3rd. So, sorry about that. Oh, no, problems again for the number 54. This time into the pits, something not quite right. Obviously, they're having a chat. Looks like it may have been either tire or suspension related as they're getting the left side of that car up in the air.
Yeah, devastating for Mark Drennan, the local here. Just a superb drive in that first race. Did a great job. Not going to be able to finish the race here today.
Nope, and look at this. As Holton continues to stretch it now. 4 seconds last time by. Fastest lap by a chunk. And he's still running. I don't see anybody that has run a lap quicker than Holton's last lap yet. So he's just easing away every lap. And when I talked to Carl, of course, the team principal here of C360R, in the race this morning, the 11th round of the championship, he built a big lead, and then it was Drennan started to close on him rapidly. And I said, was Paul managing stuff? And he went, no. And he said, our car's great, but it tends to fall off a little bit. It is carrying a little bit of weight, and he said it just tends to fall off a little bit. And he said Drennan's car was absolutely hooked up. They obviously hit a sweet setup on it. And he said Paul was really pedaling for all he was worth in that one. And it's interesting to see if anybody's got a Drennan-like response for him here. But Leia Fouge right now not quite able to do it. But look at this. Whitmer continuing a remarkable charge to the front.
Yeah, up to 7th, and he's trying to battle Maganoli for 6th place as he drops the wheel off. You pressure him enough, gets down to the inside, but you can really see how dusty this track is. Limited grip there, as you can see the dirt and the dust going off. They both kind of got hung up, and Tony Rivera might be the capitalist in here. He's going to go 3 wide down here to turn number 5. Does not do it, though.
I was going to say, that was a good decision by Tony, because 3 into 5, even I know that's tough math. And he made the right call there, I think. But now he's going to maybe get the inside of the of Whitmer here. He did.
Yeah, great job as Nick Whitmer, trying to do that. He just breathed a little bit, went back down to the inside, climbing that hill. They'll be side by side in the corkscrew. Whitmer doesn't want to give back anything, and Rivera still wants to move up through the field, looking for a battle in that top 6.
And he's able to sneak through and hang on to it here, but this is the type of racing we expect all the way to the checkered flag here in the touring car season finale, and we'll be back with more from Monterey. Whitmer was not to be denied, Jeff, but he kind of overcooked it a little bit, and see what what Tony could do. He got down to the inside, but I don't know he's got enough punch in a straight line here, at least coming off that turn. Now he does.
Yeah, you work that outer momentum there, and you saw him breathe it just a little bit too, but down here into that tight time, I know that Rivera's been having some braking problems in that Nissan 370Z, changed a lot of the different components on that car, just freshened everything up. Really helps and hurts your confidence when the brakes don't work in the car. So he's got the confidence. And when we talk about small teams and what you do, there's Tony Rivera and there's his wife. That's it. And she's there laying underneath the car working and helping out, and that's how small their operation is.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, though, I talked to Tony earlier in the weekend, and he said we have changed the system on that car, and he said, yeah, I'm confident again, so now I can attack a little bit. And you talked about it. Brakes are pretty crucial here, and when they're not working right, you just have no real confidence to attack, and it's nice to see Tony back up on the wheel.
Yeah, brakes are confidence pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But, of course, a lot of support for Tony just on the other side. Of course, you see on the side of that SPL Parts. And old Brass Monkey Racing. Good to see that name still sticking around for the Riveras.
Absolutely. Boy, after that little bit of a charge, Tony sort of faded just a little bit here. I don't know if he maybe pushed too hard on the tires, and these are probably P0s are absolutely remarkable tires, but you overrun them, you got to back off, let them cool just a little bit. And Whitmer's thinking about it. No, not there.
Tried to do a Pierre Kleinewing.
Yeah.
Battle for third we saw earlier. Maganoli has the 6th position right now. Whitmer worked his way all the way up to 7th. Coming up on that halfway point here. And we'll see Holton will still get points, but he still has to finish close enough to or ahead of Leia Fouge to get that championship. So it's not clinched at halfway. It's just that you're going to get some points.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that there was, if it was a tap, it was very, very light, but Whitmer able to get down to the apex at the Andretti hairpin a little bit more efficiently, I think, than Maganoli, and almost, if he didn't, just gave him a little bit of a tap right there. And Rivera now looks like he's been able to gather it up and has closed in a few car lengths on that margin he'd lost.
You see Maganoli in that Rooster Hall Racing based out of Georgia. FCP Euro helping him out on the side there. Really came on strong here in Pirelli World Challenge competition in his rookie season. Talked to him a little bit earlier of the weekend and said, we're looking to build on that for next year. More of an assault. Maybe I can get a teammate in here at Rooster Hall as well and just help that bounce that data and stuff like that off of different teams.
A fierce battle continues here for the 8th spot. Nick Whitmer in the 91 ST Racing BMW down into turn 10, even showing the nose on the number 80 Rooster Hall Racing machine of Anthony Maganoli, and now he's trying to work the outside, and Nick has looked everywhere he possibly can for a way through, and everywhere he looks, Jeff, Maganoli just seems to have that car in the right spot.
Well, it's 2 equally prepared cars, 2 prep cars. These are the same platforms, the same cars. It really does come down to the driver. Nick Whitmer, like you said, putting that car everywhere trying to make a move here, and he's got to be careful because Tony Rivera lurking in the back, kind of just going to see how this plays out and then pounce when it needs to happen. And there it is. Oh, just a little bit of contact there coming off the corner, side by side.
Yeah, Whitmer had that. He was established around the outside, and it looked like Magagnoli gave him enough room. And I'm not sure that Whitmer thought he was going to and wanted to fight for a little bit of real estate, and just moved a little bit. It was a pretty light graze at this stage. I'm sure Anthony will feel a little bit wrong by that, but I think Nick just thought Anthony was going to track out, and he wanted to make sure he had a little bit of racing room, but that did slow up Magagnoli just enough that Rivera now right back on him, and Tony looks to the inside, up into turn 6, tough place to get it done. Front, Holton continues to stretch that margin now up to over 4 seconds, and almost every lap, Jeff, it's like a tenth.
Yeah, just a little quicker, each time. And he's out front, no aero dependent, nothing there. The only car in the 36s right now is Paul Holton. As you see, it looks like Jorgensen pulling his car down into pit lane. The problems continue for him, unfortunately. But Mason Felipe still doing a good job holding off Toby Grohovic. He's lost the leaders that are up there in the first, second, and third position. But now he's going to be battling with your series champion last year, Toby Grohovic.
And up in front of him, Kleinubing looks like he's made some inroads into Leafouge. Last lap, they went by virtually identical times, both 138.5s. But on the previous couple of laps, Kleinubing had been able to turn laps just a little bit quicker. And obviously he has designs possibly on second spot. Meanwhile, here's that battle that continues as Whitmer has been able to get around and sits in 6th. Still Magagnoli 7th. And the number 34... and Rivera sits in that 8th spot, but up front goes Holden. At the exit of 2, we saw that little bump between the 91 of Whitmer and the 80 of Magagnoli, and the stewards did have a review on it and said there's really no harm, no foul, no action.
No action at all, which is great.
That's a good no. That's a good no call.
Yep, go race. Here is Paul Holton doing a lot of racing here globally. Does a lot of different things here, and we see that C360R team. I think Ryan's down there with that team principal, Carl Thompson. Ryan, what do you got?
Exactly right. Here talking with Carl, your guy, Paul Holton, out in front, not just in this race, but also in the championship. How impressive has this young guy, just 21 years old as of a couple of days ago, been for you this season across a lot of different platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Paul's doing a really great job today. He's doing everything that we're asking of him. We started the year really, really strong, and then the last couple of weekends just struggled. So the championship got a lot closer. As you and I both know, it's never over till it's over. So, you know, we've told him, put your head down, just keep ahead. The battles behind are really good. And hopefully we'll be able to come out with a win, and you know, if we're fortunate at a championship. I got to say thanks to everybody at Audi Sport Customer Racing who have been incredible partners. Our friends at FAP Automotive, who actually have given us the car and funding to come and do this, as well as Alpha Clone, Audi Genuine Parts. All of these amazing people have come together to help us race, and Paul has really, really delivered, just like I knew he always would.
And you got to halfway. It doesn't seal the deal, but it sure does help. You know you're going to score points in this race. Does it calm you down at all?
Yeah, you know, I've been watching the clock as we've been talking here, and yeah, we made it to halfway. But honestly, we'd love to end off on a high note. You know, we've ordered another one of these cars. The new TCR global platform is really, really exciting. The Audis, along with all the other cars, I talked to the importer of the Alfa Romeo Giulietta, which is a super sexy little car. We know Honda's coming with a car. VW's got a car. And I think this is going to be some of the most exciting sports car racing we're going to see in North America next year when it comes full circle.
Thanks very much, Carl. We'll let you get back to work.
Thank you very much.
There's a man who's passionate about his racing. There's no question about that. And you know what's really cool is, of course, he's got all those partners that provide money to them. But one of the things that they do, and they do it incredibly well, is they also use that platform to raise money for a remarkable cause, and it's the Race Day Foundation that Jill Beck oversees.
He does. You bring these kids and these families out to the racetrack that have never had a chance to do anything like this before. Give them that opportunity, hospital visits, financial backing to help families travel. And it's just great to see what Jill Beck does, and they do it all through that race car at C360R.
Yep, it is a remarkable collaborative effort down there in the C360R paddock, and always a joy to watch them come to the track. All right, folks, we're going to be stepping away for just a moment here, but just look at this. Down on Big Sur, that is the marvelous California coastline. It's just one of the many reasons to make a trip out here to Monterey and Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Views like that, and then come to the track and see some absolutely stunning racing. We'll be right back with more from this amazing location. Mason Filippi continues to hang on over the defending series champion, which tells you a little bit about what young Mason is capable of doing here as he holds on to that 4th spot. Grohovic in 5th. And they've lost touch just a smidge. I mean, Kleinubing is up the road now to the tune of about 2.5 seconds. Just see him running out of frame here. But Pierre had trimmed that margin to Leafouge down to about 1.3 seconds, and now it's up again. And Leafouge has been able to find a little bit on the last couple of laps, but last time through, Kleinubing trimmed it again, but only by a couple of tenths. But how cool is it to be talking about Pierre Kleinubing in World Challenge again, and his history in this Pirelli World Challenge Championship is legend.
5-time champion all through real time. And just to see him come back here, was an Audi test driver in the original R8 prototype car, to see what he's done. And that name for Pierre Kleinubing, if you're a fan of Pirelli World Challenge, him, Mike Galati tied with 5, and Peter Cunningham with 7. His name's going to be etched into the record books here in Pirelli World Challenge.
Oh, without a doubt. And I asked Pierre once after, the guy, his car control, he is just mega. And I asked him once, I said, has it ever frustrated you that you never ended up going to, Le Mans or, any kind of that absolute top tier level? And he went, no. And he said, I make a very comfortable living. I'm fortunate. People hire me to drive their cars, and I get to do that. And he looked at me and he said, driving those kind of cars, and obviously he has the experience, he said, it's amazing, the performance. And he said, but in terms of racing, it's tough to have more fun than what I'm doing right now. And that was a great perspective for the Brazilian who now calls Miami area home.
That's awesome to see.
Yep.
Get a chance to do a lot of track days with him down there in Florida. He's at most every events there at Palm Beach International Raceway, at Miami Homestead, and Sebring. So get a chance to come out and drive my car there, Pierre Kleinubing. It'd be great to get the feedback. But just an awesome, superb drive, and great job by Toby Grohovic putting Pierre Kleinubing into this classic BMW as well. And what about this BMW platform? What a great thing here with that BMW M235i. Just exciting times here in touring car. BMW, Nissan, Mazda, Audi. They talked about what Carl talked about, those cars that are coming in with Volkswagen, Honda, Alpha. It's great to see a touring car. If you're a fan, it is awesome. And there's that blue Audi RS3 LMS. Got to give a shout out JT Copel. He came onto the series here, really just doing a good job. Got to give a good shout out to him. Brand new paint scheme on that. Got Bilstein on the side supporting them. Berg Racing all season long prepping that car, and that rookie has come on strong here for the World Challenge competition.
Yeah, he's been pretty impressive, and he's had a couple of races where he's been able to put together some very quick runs, and that makes up that's a big deal. I just wanted to make sure that I had the stats right on this. He's put together a fast lap a couple of times. He's got speed.
He does, yeah, and it works on that racecraft a little bit. Brand new driver, really in competition time here in the Pro Cef, so he'll get up there. He's got some good leadership and mentorship by John Weisberg, and just a good-looking car there too. Redcom on the side there, a lot of supporters for this young man.
You can see behind those rear wheels, same thing just behind the front wheels on the side, those little extractors and the like. This is a car that is very much designed around managing aerodynamics on the car as opposed to focusing solely on mechanical grip, and so it's just a little bit different platform.
It is, and it's pretty cool. Paddle shifters, sequential transmission. It's got a big old lever there for a handbrake, so you can actually hold and build temperature in your rear tires and your rear brake pads when you're on the pace lap, of course, for standing starts. They do that a lot of starts globally with this platform and this car, so pretty cool deal.
The number 28 continues to run in the top 10. Johann Schwartz, a former Touring Car B champion, having himself a good run, fending off the young JT Kupal in the 009 Audi RS3 LMS Club Sport entry that is fielded by Berg Racing. And Johann right up in the mix. Great to have him back in this championship. Just in front of them is Ari Belo. And I went and talked to that team and Ari's team, and I said, so what's new, what's different, what's changed? And they pointed to the car, and they said, well, this one's a different color. And, of course, he's running for breast cancer awareness, and you see the pink all over the car. And that's very, very cool. But they said otherwise, things are pretty solid. And Ari doing a nice job. And he's one of those drivers, he's getting a lot of seat time these days, and it's showing. He continues to impress. Doesn't have the experience of some of the other drivers, but spends a lot of time running with Greg Leafouge. And he is starting to, some of that is starting to rub off. Very talented.
And no less of a team manager and leader there than Steve Cameron Racing. So you got a pretty good layout there with 4 cars strong at Cameron Racing here this weekend with Leafouge. You got Salas there in there, Omak, and then we talk about Ari Below in that team as well, running also in the Sprint X categories of Pearly World Challenge and a BMW as well. So Ari, really, the whole gamut of Pearly World Challenge all through that Steve Cameron Racing program.
And once again, there is Leafouge in the orange BMW from Stephen Cameron Racing, and there is Kleinubing in the charcoal and white entry from Classic BMW. And that lap, it looked like Pierre was able, he took a good 3/10 that time out of Greg Leafouge. And the question is Greg at this stage realizing I don't have the speed, I have nothing for Holden right now, I just want to hang on. I've been able to now move from third to second in the points. If I stay where I am, I'll solidify that. Or is he absolutely flat chat right now, trying to hang on to just second in the race, knowing that Kleinubing's coming?
Yeah, I think you're going to be pushing as hard as you can. You never know. I mean, if Paul Holden does have a mechanical failure and drops back, Leafouge inherits that lead. We'll have to do some math and some calculations and grab the old slide rule, but you could still have a chance to clinch this championship. It truly is, like Carl Thompson said, never over till it's over.
Well, the thing is, you only pay points down to a certain level, and you got more entries than that number of points positions payback. So if you end up bad enough where Holden doesn't score anything, it's still within reach here. I mean, Holden, there's basically, with his pole, there were just 25 points yet to be won, and his lead 24. So it's a solid one. Obviously, it's huge, but should something go awry where he ends up parking it, and it's not like looking at the timesheet, so you got a number of cars that are down laps here. I mean, the top 20 are all in the same lap. So we have seen stranger things.
We have. If you're a big fan of us here at world-challenge.com, you know you've seen it happen. Truly, never over till it's over. Greg Leafouge and Pierre Kleinubing. Boy, the names that we get to mention here, at least in our touring car categories, let alone our GT4, GT3 platforms you'll see later on next season in 2018.
I think one of the most memorable is in that GT platform last year, halfway through the last lap, when Johnny O pushed a little wide, and he and Pat Long had some contact, and Alvaro Perrin sitting in third going, well, I don't have this championship, suddenly had the championship. I mean, it can happen that late into a race.
Mason Felipe, just another superb job. Got a race win here this season. I believe that was at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where he got his first win of the season.
Indeed, second of the 2 races there with fast lap. That's where he got that fast lap.
Yeah, obviously one of those winding road racing Tim Barber prepped cars.
Well, Grahovic looks like he's getting a little racier here, though. You get to a certain point, you're just a couple of car lengths back. That's when you start thinking, all right, just try and carry a little more speed. Try and get a little bit deeper in on the brakes, see what you can make happen here. All more in hoping, it's obviously, it's one of those things, you're not going to make a pass work from 3-4 car lengths back, but at least if you can get close enough where you fluster them in the mirrors a little bit, that's when maybe you'll just run wide for just an instant. As you said, these cars are so equal. You need the car in front if it's being well driven to have a mistake.
And especially here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, it's one of those tracks that you have to be good in every corner, or you do get that mistake and you lose a little bit, then it affects you 3 corners down before you can even figure out where I made the mistake and then try to recover. It happens that quick on this tight road course.
Well, and look at this now. That last lap, Kleinubing took almost 4/10 away from Leafouge. So that margin is close, and there you see how close Grahovic is now. He's within a car length on the back of young Mason Filippi. So up front, we've got that battle is looking really stout as well. And just a matter of car lengths now for Pierre.
And it was Toby Grahovic that had the fastest lap that time by a 1:38.367, fastest race lap at a 1:36.5. So that tells you how much slower they're running here near the end of the race. Only 6.5 minutes to go in our season finale for round number 12.
Temperature beating down on the track, the sun out there, the track changing virtually every lap, and the time's tailing off as a result of that. So this is some pretty stout action that is unfolding here. And of course, there's still a few minutes left in this championship. And we will be back in just a moment to bring it to you and take you all the way to the finish. Great action continuing in the Touring Car Championship.
Saw Toby Grahovic try to look to the inside of Mason Felipe. So we're just building our CBS Sports Network show here with our producers, talking back and forth to the truck, getting that going. I want to give a huge shout out to all the camera crews here and everybody in the truck, of course, making this broadcast happen live at world-challenge.com and motortrendondemand.com. But yeah, Toby Grahovic right to the inside of Felipe, trying to make that pass going on.
The battle that has been raging for the latter half of this race for fourth is continuing, but somehow it's even more intense right now as Grahovic has attached himself to the rear bumper of young Mason Felipe and the defending class champion, looking for any way to get through. And so far, Jeff, Mason hasn't put a wheel wrong.
He has not. You can see Toby Grahovic really pushing hard. Came down through the Andretti hairpin just a little while ago, tried to go to the inside. Grahovic gets a little bit crossed up, and that's why there's this gap right now, all paced all the way back at turn number 2 as they go through turn number 9 right now.
And up in front of these guys, Pierre Kleinubing has trimmed the margin to Greg Leafauge to 0.7 of a second. So good battle shaping up there as we're heading into our final couple of moments, 4 minutes actually of this race. Here it is, and it's closer still. Wow, Pierre is finding it here as this unfolds. On that last lap, took another 0.2 off, and it too now is down to car lengths.
Yeah, less than a half a second, 0.494 as they cross the line. 5.8 second lead up to your leader. Paul Holton just got a glimpse of him, but it looks like we got a battle heating up for second here, and Kleinubing has closed that gap. The classic BMW versus Steve Cameron Racing as they come out here in that battle for second.
Well, and this is compelling because these are two extremely talented drivers here. We've talked about, obviously, the legend of Pierre Kleinubing in Pirelli World Challenge with all his championships, but Gregory Leafauge is maybe not in terms of showing what have you won for championships. He may not have that kind of a number, but his racecraft and his speed, he's just spent a lot of time partnering drivers that are coming up through the ranks a little bit, but he is exquisitely quick, an awful lot of skill, and he's going to have to use every ounce of it right now, as he has got one of the very best filling his mirrors.
Yeah, Fast Track Racing Team is Classic BMW, managed there by Toby Grahovic. And, of course, Classic BMW, the dealership out of Plano, Texas. Great to see the American flags on the top of all those BMWs out here racing. 4 cars strong here this weekend. But there is the man of the weekend so far, Paul Holton, in that Compass, the 360R racing Audi RS3 LMS. Boy, this battle for second, it's not going to be over here with only 2.5 minutes to go.
Boy, and I'll tell you, Pierre has been able to get really deep on the brakes down into turn number 2, the Andretti hairpin. I think he would have liked to have been a little bit closer than he is this time, and it looked like he had it, and then just lost some of the momentum, because had he been close enough, he's shown the ability to be able to get really deep down on the brakes here. So we'll see what happens. Word coming from race control confirming white flag next time by for Paul Holton in that number 71 points leading Audi. And for Pierre, that gives him 2 laps. Oof, somebody dropping tires big time.
Yeah, you go through there kind of blind, not knowing if there could or maybe not be a car there. And superb drive there for that Honda Accord just pulling out.
Yeah, that's Josh before, and he's been having a real problem this weekend, and they report he's been in and out of the pits. He's got some sort of a handling issue, and you can see the exhaust dragging. Car's just not quite there, and it's been a handful for Josh. And boy, Filippi once again has a handful right in his mirrors here for Grahovic. So these two really good battles here late in the going, Jeff.
Yeah, and you never know what might happen. This could be a battle for that overall podium if Leia Fuge and Kleinubing have a problem and kind of tangle a little bit. So you never want to give up here until the end.
Well, I'll tell you, I thought for a minute there that Toby kind of angling in a little bit, that maybe he just got Felipe to overshoot that corner a little bit. Mason was absolutely spot on, shallowing up a little bit and still getting the car to rotate. You can hear that dragging sound. That's from the back of that Accord. Here we go, down the front straight, white flag out. 1 lap to go in the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Championship season. This time Kleinubing up front, closer than he's been as they head down into turn number 2, the Andretti hairpin. See if he's able to make anything work here. Here comes Holton out of the corner, and Pierre is down to the inside. But Leafuge able to stay put around the outside. That gives him the inside going in to turn 3. And he's able to hang on. Is Pierre going to be able to do the over-under on the exit? Not this time.
Not there. It's really hard to do in turn number 3. You come through 4 here. It's a slight brush of the brake, back to the gas as quick as you can. This is really going to be 3 zones left to make this happen as Leafuge protects to the inside. Kleinubing looking to the outside, trying to see anything he can do to get around here in that battle for second place.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Pierre thinks there's anywhere else on this track where he can make something happen. I would think if he gets the drive out of turn 6 here, it would be up into the corkscrew, an opportunity to make a move. And then, of course, there's always turn 11 at the end. What's going to happen up in here? Leafuge carries enough speed in. Nothing that Kleinubing can do there.
Yeah, it's just mirror images of each other. Wow, you really see Kleinubing bouncing down the hill in the corkscrew, and what the momentum he lost there. 2 car lengths back. Don't think he's going to have enough distance here unless he flows through turn number 10 into that braking zone of 11. One last chance here for second place.
Yeah, you could see him flat slide once it started bouncing, didn't it? That's just scrubbing momentum. So not enough there, but can he get the drive out? Well, we'll see, but first, it is Audi sweeping the weekend for C360R. There's Carl and Jill and Holton getting it done, winning the championship with the win. Leafuge hanging on over Kleinubing. A tremendously close margin. And Pierre, obviously, once he realized it wasn't going to happen, backed off a little bit. And how about Mason Filippi hanging on over the defending series champion? Absolutely a tremendous job by that young man. He is somebody to be watching in the future. And Paul Holton, I get a feeling this cool-down lap could be fun to watch.
It is, yeah. Of course, he's got that brake handle in there, and you saw him pulling that on the exit of turn number 2, making the front-wheel drive Audi a little drift car there through the exit of the Andretti hairpin. But Paul Holton raced back in the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car B-Spec categories up to a touring car win now and a championship.
Well, I'll tell you, it's, he did have those races where things sort of went off the rails just a little bit, and to rebound with a sweep of the weekend to win the championship, that is retribution, and it is obviously an opportunity for him to have said, look, yeah, we had our little moments, but this is what we can do. Yeah,
they did a great job, really rebounded here. He's just trying to pick up all the rubber he can, make sure there's no reason why he can't make the minimum weight. That's when you start drinking all the water in Victory Circle. You take the champagne the much that you can, but there's Pierre Kleinubing pulling alongside Gregory Leafuge, giving big thumbs up, nothing but respect for a lot of these champion drivers here. As you see, there's your 2017 Touring Car Champion. In just a little over an hour, we'll have a banquet to help celebrate those champions.
Yeah, it turns around in a hurry here, but what a weekend. This has been the Touring Cars sort of showcase weekend here, as they are here just in support without the GT or GTS cars of the Pirelli World Challenge, and just as support for the California 8-hour race, and they have put on a show, and nobody's been more spectacular this weekend than the performance that Paul Holton uncorked here just to lock this down.
Yeah, some of the best racing you'll see in all the Pirelli World Challenges in our touring car categories, and they did not disappoint here today. Congratulations. He comes down pit lane, get a good chance to talk to Ryan Marine down there, not only talking about that sweep of the weekend, but also that 2017 championship.
It was a good one. Leafuge second, Kleinubing third, Filippi fourth, Grahovic fifth. Whitmer I was able to hang on and finish 6th from dead last on the field. That was a good run for him.
Yes!
I think he is one happy young man. And the Floridian climbs out from behind the wheel of that
Awesome.
beautiful Audi. It's a heck of a ride he's got there, and boy, did he give it one.
He sure did. And, of course, Aero Wraps working on that car as well. Longtime supporter of him. You see that Race Day Foundation. A lot of smiles and probably a lot of tears down there in pit lane for that C360R team. And your race winner today, Paul Holton.
Yep, Paul Holton, the earplugs come out, and that means he can hear Ryan Marine.
For 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Champion Paul Holton, sweeping the weekend here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. You told me before the race you were a little concerned about that start, and you did drop back a little bit, but able to race your way back up into the lead. How nerve-wracking were those opening few laps for you?
Well, we lucked out. Thankfully, the front straight is right on a wall here, so Carl Whitmer and I had decided we were going to pinch over and just have the two of us against the wall, so we didn't let anyone by up the inside. And I saw Lafugi looking left, looking right, couldn't find a way through. Mason Filippi got around us on the outside, took a lap or two I stuck it in on him in 5, made a bit of a gutsy move. Had to be done though to get away from those guys. Otherwise, I was going to get stuck. So it was really little. I'm a little bit lost for words. I can't even. I'm just awesome. So happy. Thank you for FAF. Thank you for Compass for letting me drive the car. Alpha Clone for coming on as well, and Audi Sport for giving us an amazing car. See this? Audi Sport. That car was fast.
And you bring home the championship for all of those people that you mentioned, in addition to yourself. What does this moment mean to you?
Well, actually, I'll say my teammate in the McLarens, Matt Keegan, his house just burned down in Santa Rosa, so this is for Matt. Really, that's for him and his family, since they don't have anything left from it. This win's for him, the championship's for him.
Well, congratulations. We'll let you go celebrate.
Thank you.
And you can hear the emotion there at the end. It's one of those deals, the absolute elation of the win and the championship that he's been able to put together. But in the back of his mind, as we've talked about, very dear friends have lost so much in these fires out here, and that's on certainly on his mind as it is on the minds of everybody. But a sweep of the weekend. It's a good way to wrap up a championship going out with a double win.
It really is. You just do what you need to do, get your job done. Paul Holton getting the win. Leia Fuge in second. Pierre Kleinuming completes your podium in the 3rd position. Mason Felipe, great run for him in 4th. Toby Grovic in 5th. Whitmer started dead last in the field, worked up to 6th place. Anthony Maganoli caps off a tremendous season in 7th. Tony Rivera, the problems in that 370s he's had all season long, gets a good 8th place finish. Ari Below that continues for him in that BMW, and Johan Swartz making his debut this season in Pirelli World Challenge with the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, in terms of points, Holton obviously wins the championship. Leia Fuge will be second. And I think that coming from dead last, it looked for a little bit like Whitmer, who was 3rd in the points, was going to lose that to Toby Grahovic. And he fought through and actually finished right on the bumper of Grahovic. And that was enough, I think, to get him and hold his 3rd in the championship. Well, for those of you that have joined us all season long here on our global webcast for the Pirelli World Challenge, whether it's the GT, GTS, or the touring cars, it has been an absolute honor to be able to bring it to you. We have finished at an absolutely stunning venue. The banquet for the touring cars comes tonight, and we appreciate every one of you that has tuned in on whatever device you've been watching it as the year has unfolded. It means the world to us, and of course, we do hope you'll check out Motor Trend On Demand tomorrow. We'll be back to bring you the call of the California 8 Hours Intercontinental GT Challenge Endurance Race Round 3. But for the Pirelli World Challenge, this wraps it up. Other than the banquet tonight, Jeff, it's been a treat. And to everybody that's helped us out in pit lane as well. And to Calvin Fish, who's worked with us in the GT and GTS races. It's been a great season. We look forward to seeing all of you with Pirelli World Challenge in 2018.